Hello and welcome to the channel Rekosaurus Rex, where we discuss and review all things dinosaur and other prehistoric animals. How have you all been? It's been a minute. I've been away on vacation, and then once I got back, I had some things I had to catch up on. So, and not only that, but the last review that I put up was supposed to have been put up prior to me going on vacation, but I forgot to upload it, and thus that why that one came out as late as it did. But I'm back now, so we're going to get back on track. We've got a few videos lined up on the way, and we're kicking it off with this highly anticipated, and finally got it. And it is here. We're talking about Qingge. I think that's how you pronounce the name. The Therizinosaurus, courtesy of Pnso. This is number 65. And highly anticipated, especially for me. This is definitely one of my favorite dinosaurs, simply because of how bizarre it is. Right alongside the previously reviewed from Pnso, the Dinochirus. And so happy that I've got them both. The crazy thing is they both lived around the same time in around the same area. So we got those more or less back to back. So I'm happy about that. Also, as of the recording of this video, Pnso has announced their Suchomimus. And it's already become polarizing because some people are upset that they come out with that in the wake of their Cynopleosaurus, which was really, no particular species. It looked like it's closest to a Siamosaurus, which is, if you remember my review, that's what I akined it to, and that's what I'm going to look at it as. So, but we're getting a bona fide Suchomimus, and I can only hope that they keep that in scale with what Suchomimus was estimated to be, which was about 36 feet long. So hopefully that'll be the case. In other words, he should be more or less as big as their Tarbosaurus. So let's hope and see. Anyhow, enough about other models that we haven't even gotten yet. We've got our Therizinosaurus right here before us. So let's take a look at the box. Standard Pnso packaging. This is number 65 in the line. Qingge the Therizinosaurus. We've got on the top there some more of that, and you've got Dream and Vision for Children. It's the same thing on the other side. So and just not much going on at the bottom. So that's what we have. So without further ado, let's get Qingge out of the packaging. Our Therizinosaurus comes with this base, transparent base, as is typical and standard with all of the bipedal and especially the theropod dinosaurs that Pnso presents to us. And trust and believe, you're going to need it for this guy, just simply because of the just his basic design. He stands more erect than the typical theropod, so this is definitely going to be needed. Also typical is the accompanied booklet, informational booklet that comes with all of Pnso's models, and of course it has information, it has illustrations of the model, and keeps going. Got a little bit more than usual here, and then we also have actual artwork of the Therizinosaurus, claws, some of the information on the anatomy, etc. And standard. Nothing new, nothing different, but always welcome. Finally, we get a poster which has become a staple with Pnso. I think we had gotten a poster of the model of the Dinocaurus last time, but we're back to actual artwork, and this is quite lovely the way they have it. So if you're into making these posters into something that you can hang up, it is there for you. And so here we have Qingge, our Therizinosaurus, on our rotating platter, definitely giving you a 360-degree view of the model. And first glance for me is I'm trying to see if the paint apps on the genuine article matches what we saw on the box. And I have to say, for the most part, that would be a yes. There's some differences in the tail feathers. The tail feathers are they appear to be darker on the model than they do on the illustration on the packaging. And but for the most part, I think we're good. Usually, not only does it not match the artwork on the packaging, but it also doesn't match in terms of look as good as the production artwork and stuff. So that is that has always been a concern of the collector. But this time, I dare say that if it doesn't exactly match what we see on the packaging, the actual paint apps look better, at least in my opinion. So there is that. Let's get our Therizinosaurus off of the rotating platter and get a closer look at it. So here we have Qingge, our Therizinosaurus, off the rotating base, and just in a static position. Obviously, it's a model, so it's not like it's articulated, so it's always going to be static, of course. But yes, this is a beautiful representation of the Therizinosaurus, and I dare say it is the this will now be the staple. This is the model by which all other companies will have to aspire to achieve / surpass, which will be no easy task at all. This will definitely be, for right now, the definitive Therizinosaurus out there, in my opinion. So yes, we're looking very good here, and the colors look great. Looking at those claws, it's crazy. Let's get a closer look so we can see some of that fine detail. And we're going to kick this off with the head. This is definitely very nice looking head. You've got the beak there, and the light colors there in the beak. The actual tip of the beak is like a brown. It looks dark on my viewfinder, but in real life it isn't as dark as it's appearing on camera. And then it gets lighter right here. This is very nice. And then looking at the eyes are like almost an orange with black pupils. You can see all of the plumage there. It was feathered, surmised to be so. And this is a Pnso theropod, so the mouth is articulated, and it can go down to about that far. So as always, that's great. Looking in that mouth, it is we can see the wet look of the mouth itself. Trying to look on the other side there, underside. If you could see in there, I know it's kind of difficult, especially as small a head as the Therizinosaurus had. Then going down, you have nice dark plumage there representing the feathers. The underside light, it actually changes color twice. It goes from it's dark here, and then it turns into like a rust-colored brown, and then it gets to a light tan kind of brown. When you get to the underbelly there, the under neck, which of course leads to the underbelly, you get more of the same, and you can see the detail of the feathers there. It's got a wash in it to bring out some of that detail. Turning back to the side, You can see once again the plumage of the feathers, very, very nice, going down that very prodigious forearm, that forelimb. You see the feathering there, going down to what makes the Therizinosaurus most famous are those claws. Unbelievable. I believe they're rated to be at least a foot and a half long a piece. Might be longer. I think I got that wrong. I know that these claws are very, well, obviously they're very long, but I believe they were estimated to be at least a foot long. I think they're longer than that. I want to say they're about 3 feet long. I think that's what it is. I think they're like estimated to be like 3 feet long on that. So somebody check me in the comments for sure. I think they're 3 feet long, more or less, on average. And you see the plumage there, and you see the underbelly. The underbelly is bare, no feathering there, and it's kind of like a light brown, tannish brown. Going back to the body, Therizinosaurus had that nice pot belly going on, short hind limbs, but you see the nice feathering there. Get it back in focus, it'd be nice, huh? And you see the wash on that, that's pretty nice. Going down to the feet, as theropods go, you can see right there, it's got the 4 toes, including that dew claw, are weight bearing. It's on the ground, it's not raised up. Most of the time, companies, they misrepresent the Therizinosaurus by having the dew claw raised up like the typical theropod. And as you well know, especially after seeing this model today, if you've seen it for the first time, that Therizinosaurus and Therizinosaurs in general are not your typical theropods. You see the plumage on the tail there as it goes down there. They, meaning Pnso, has chosen to have the tail feathers kind of sort of in a relaxed position and not flailed out, which I'm pretty happy about that. Looking at the bottom, you see that it's bare, and the plumage goes through there. And then of course we have on the other side, same thing. The feathers actually, they end in a like tannish brown after they've come from that dark. And the tail itself, the feathers on the tail, pretty light, a light brown. And then you get most of the same thing going on the other side there. Pretty nice. As always, the attention to detail. Since this leg is pushing forward, you see the skin stretched, and if you peek in there, let me turn it to the other side. It's kind of stretched there. Looking at that left limb, you see where it's stretched out as it pushes off. So that's pretty good. And then going back down to the head, looking at that head sculpt again. Move it back so we can be in focus again. And there you have it. That is our Therizinosaurus. Taking a measurement of our Therizinosaurus, I actually, off camera, I took isolated measurements because of the nature of, how the head is pointed. So looking at it this way, it still comes out to around the same thing, give or take. So it's approximately 9 3/4 inches tall, or long, I should say. And if you were to estimate it at the 1/35 scale, this represents a subadult Therizinosaurus. I'm not happy with that. I think if you want to be able to estimate it as an adult, keep in mind that these creatures grew from, in terms of their top end, 31 to 33 feet long, and you see how they stand. They stand more erect than the typical theropod. They stood up to 16 feet tall. So they were definitely different. But to get this to, at least in your mind, estimated at the size of an adult, it would be rated at a 1/37 scale, and that would put it at about 29.6 feet long. So it would, I guess it would be either just a small adult or female of the species, possibly, if you want to look at it that way. And yeah, in terms of the height, I usually don't do height, but because Therizinosaurs, or as I stated before, they're pretty unique when it comes to theropods. It stands at about 5.5 inches. So at that 137 scale that I just mentioned, that puts this more or less right at that 16-foot mark, representative of an animal that size. Therizinosaurs lived about 70 million years ago in Asia, and they lived alongside the Dinochirus, which is crazy to have two colossal and bizarre dinosaurs in the same region. And they also shared the habitat with several different species of hadrosaurs, and of course the apex predator around, which would have been Tarbosaurus. And quite sure that it was able to defend itself very adequately with those claws. The same with the Dinochirus, large as it was. And the Dinochirus matched the Tarbo in size. Therizinosaurus was just a little bit shorter, but it stood taller and probably was not intimidated in the slightest. I don't know. Whenever I think of a Therizinosaurus, I think it was herbivorous, but I don't know why in my mind I have it that it was aggressive. And I don't mean just bad tempered like the modern day rhino. I mean it just was an aggressive, it just happened to be planting. I think that even though it was a vegetarian, it was a herbivore, I think there was still enough theropod in it that it was of an aggressive nature. But that's, of course, just supposition based on zero data. That's just me spitballing. And now for some comparison. First up, you knew it had to happen. I previously reviewed this model not that long ago, but yes, it was the How Good / GR Toys version of the Therizinosaurus, which was a very nice looking model, albeit inaccurate, especially down around the feet. If you recall, the How Good version, the dew claw is raised, similarly to the Therizinosaurus in Jurassic World Dominion, which for me, despite that inaccuracy, that was my favorite scene in the movie. I could look at that forever. From the time that the head appeared, spoiler alert, coming on Claire's left, all the way until the very end of that scene. That's just my favorite scene of the movie. It was just how imposing the Therizinosaurus looked in that. But you see the differences we have here. And as good as the How Good version appears, and it's more colorful, can't front, it's more colorful than the Pnso version, but the Pnso version, I think, has got it beat. The claws, everything, the accuracy, especially with the feet, have, like I said, this is the distinctive, the Pnso version I'm talking about, the distinctive Therizinosaurus for the foreseeable future. And here we have our Therizinosaurus next to a fellow cohabitant. Back there 70 million years ago, we've got the Dinochirus, which is another beautiful, quite frankly, in my estimation, Pnso's best work, paint app wise for sure. Accuracy, everything else, of course, but lovely model. And you knew it had to happen. We got our Therizinosaurus going up against the apex predator at its time and region. We're talking about the Tarbosaurus. And like I said, these are pretty accurately in scale. And as you can see, the way how the Therizinosaurus stands, he just stands erect. So he towers over the Tarbosaurus, and that's despite having shorter hind limbs. And I mean, while we have these two here, let's just talk real quick about the differences between these two theropods. Everything about the Therizinosaurus is the exact opposite of what we know theropods to be. Theropods, like the Torbo, large heads. Therizinosaurs, small heads. Tarbosaurus and other theropods, toothy mouths. Therizinosaurs, beaks, toothless beaks. Therizinosaurs, long necks. Standard theropods, shorter necks. Therizinosaurs, those long forelimbs. And well, we've got Tarbosaurus right here, which has the shortest forelimbs of the Tyrannosaur family, even shorter than the Tyrannosaurus rex themselves. Then you've got the hind limbs on Therizinosaurs. They're short, where they're long on theropods. And with theropods, the dew claw is raised up, whereas on Therizinosaurs, those dew claws are on the ground. They are weight bearing. And then then we have two more distinctions. Therizinosaurs, shorter tails, whereas standard theropods had longer tails. And then, of course, the other obvious feathers on Therizinosaurs and none on most theropods. We're excluding Dromaeosaurs and some other theropods like Eutyrannus, for example, which is a tyrannosaur, but is supposed to have been feather bearing. So yeah, there we have it. So in conclusion, I will end this as I began. This has been highly anticipated by me and by many a collector, and it did not fail to deliver. We're talking about Qingge, the Therizinosaurus from Pnso. This is, as I stated, this will be the definitive, the ideal, the standard, the staple Therizinosaurus for which all other companies will aspire to achieve for the foreseeable future. The accuracy, the colors, and when I say accuracy, I mean both towards the source material as well as the coloration of the model versus what's on the packaging. As I stated, if it isn't as accurate as what we see on the packaging, this is probably the first time that the genuine article, the paint apps exceed what we see on the packaging, and that is definitely a plus. It's a very I can't really say enough about this model. From the feathering, the scalation, I believe, as I stated, this is more in line with a 137 scale than a 135. I'm actually going to do some measurements with some of my other Pnso models to see if it is closer to 137 scale. I did the Tarbosaurus, and it's closer to the 137 scale as well. So they're both in scale with one another, whether you go 135 or 137. Even though at 135, this Therizinosaurus is pretty small for a Therizinosaur. So yeah, 137 scale is what it comes out to be. But yes, it's a very beautiful model, and it's got the articulated beak as standard with the theropods and other bipedal models from Pnso, and it'll definitely fit into whatever display you want to put him in. It's very nice. We are definitely building up our collection of Asian-based dinos, and greatly enough, we have 3 that are they existed together at the same time. So that's always a plus, and it's sure to make for some great diorama displays. So that'll do it for this review, guys. Thank you so much for hanging with me. I know this review was a little bit longer, but I think it was warranted for this particular model. And I admit I'm a bit biased over it, so forgive if you've lasted this long. Thank you for rocking with me. And please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Please do so. We're still fledgling, and we've got a long way to go before we're done. So please subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments, please levy them down below, especially about the Therizinosaurus claws. I think I corrected myself properly, and that they were on average about 3 feet long. So if you guys know, hit me up down below. And if you got any questions or concerns, criticisms, please leave them too. And definitely hit that like bell if you want to be notified for the next time I upload another video. So on behalf of Qingge, Therizinosaurus, just want to say thank you and take care, guys.